So here is a tweet about my time on that great platform of Twitter and Reddit and all these other ones as well. I've witnessed a phenomenon over time. Those that seem to believe that any opinion in opposition on any given spectrum to theirs, any opposition to theirs is trolling or bad faith, among other things. So for these individuals, I have good news. There are higher levels of awareness to look forward to. So this phenomenon that people seem to believe that any opinion in opposition to theirs is trolling or bad faith. Okay, so the question is not whether or not the trolls in this case are telling the truth, acting in bad faith, or right or wrong in any given context. I'm suggesting that the assumption of ignorance, evil, or other factors in another's dissenting position, the assumption of ignorance and evil in another's dissenting position is, in itself, an ignorant stance. In my experience, there is value in delayed gratification. There is value in critical thinking. Providing the easy route and attempting to proselytize is not a path to higher awareness. In the freedom of information and the sharing of all viewpoints, we can find immense strength. And finally, I have a few adages that go well with this thread, and we'll go through all these. Nothing good in life comes easy. Ask questions. Always try to know what you don't know. Reality is subjective. Human beings have agency and intelligence of their own. Mind reading is impossible. Mind reading is impossible. You probably knew that, unless you have that Neuralink from Elon Musk. So, the phenomenon of those that seem to believe that any opinion in opposition is trolling or bad faith. So, if they don't think you're trolling or bad faith with your opinion and they're all not really very receptive to it, there's a good chance they're going to say something like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know what that word means. They might just say, fuck you, and move on. But the assumption that somebody is either stupid, evil, or ignorant because they disagree with you isn't a great starting position. It's not a great reset point for dialogue, because people have so many different layers as to why they think the way that they do. They've considered both sides, perhaps, or maybe they've just considered one. Maybe they've considered more than two. Maybe there's a lot more information about what they're saying. The context of what they're saying is different than I or you imagine it. There's all these different reasons, but of course, some people just have this assumption that views that are opposite on the political spectrum or the political globe or sphere to theirs are somehow, they're, knowing that they are being, bad actors. Their intentions are poor. That's what bad faith would imply, that somebody knows they're trolling, that somebody knows they're gaslighting, whatever the intention might be, which I don't find to be a very constructive way to approach debate. I mean, there's obviously going to be major differences between different sides, notably if you're talking about the more capitalistic systems versus the socialistic. There's just people that are staunch in those camps that, have a trouble just getting on the same page. People that are more individualistic versus the collectivistic viewpoint. Different sides, of course, are going to have their qualms with each other just on a fundamental basis, based on the systems that are ascribed to and known on those sides. If you're using a sort of, I guess the false dichotomy, the limited dichotomy of left and right, you run into this all the time. You're in bad faith because you're a liberal, you're in bad faith because you're a conservative. You could call this projection, you could call it mind reading if you'd like. I prefer to view it as an observation of some of the rhetoric that I've seen while on Twitter and other social platforms. So the higher levels of awareness are understanding that everybody comes to every situation from there's at least one other valid viewpoint for virtually every perspective. There's always another side to the argument. So of course, we have to keep that in mind. That's why I had in my last video the cognitive dissonance workout routine. So you can actually hold two conflicting views in your head at the same time, and that gets your muscles, your cognitive dissonance muscles, nice and tightened up so that you're not just automatically rejecting information that doesn't conform to your bias, your confirmation bias, and you're actually taking in what seem like contrary or contradictory or contrarian, however you'd like to put it. Those viewpoints can come in, and your brain gets used to digesting them, analyzing them, and you're actually putting those muscles that you hadn't been putting to work. Of course, you may have been already, staying out of the echo chamber too much. You might have made echo chambers your vacation home instead of your permanent home, which I think is a healthier way to go if you're looking for intellectual enlightenment in general, which I believe most of us are seeking. But there is of course a lot of people on Twitter that are just shit posting or trolling for real. We've seen all kinds of communities it's not a politically partisan thing to do, but people do, of course, shit post. And I will see people come after me on Twitter and say, well, you're saying something, you're saying most of it, you didn't actually say this, here's a straw man for you, but you're not saying the other side, you're not always presenting both sides. And I say, well, I try. If you watch my videos, my hour-long plus videos every week, usually dropping on Sunday, and the smaller segments that are created from there, you're going to see, of course, that I am trying my best to create an environment where all sides are listened to and all sides are taken into account, of course. But, when you're on there and you're in sort of an echo chamber, you might be talking to somebody that's very left-wing or very right-wing, and of course, you might say something that's a joke or satire or something that's like, oh, this is something that will obviously appeal to a more pro-Trump, for example, or anti-Trump crowd. And that is a case where you're not going to find intellectualism to the degree that you normally want to. And in fact, I do have a pro tip for those that come after your shit posts on Twitter and elsewhere and say, well, this isn't intellectual enough for me. What's your reasoning? I say, this isn't an intellectual exercise. This isn't an intellectual exercise. Like, I'm not delivering a dissertation here. I'm not delivering my thesis. I'm delivering a joke that goes over better, I guess, with a group that you're not a part of, unfortunately. So the question isn't whether or not the trolls, in this case, are telling the truth, acting in bad faith, or right or wrong in any given context. I'm suggesting that the assumption of ignorance, evil, or other factors in another's dissenting position is in itself an ignorant stance. So I've said in my other video, of course, I have a video called Jeff Tidwell is a Grifting, Gaslighting Fraud. And I've gotten other videos, too, that have similar content talking about how some people pretend that, because I disagree with them, or I don't think that Russiagate is real. I don't think that Russiagate is a viable product. I think it's closer to, I hate to use the term, but a conspiracy theory. It's more of a hoax. It's more of a political distraction than anything tangible. There's no proof of any of the things inside Robert Mueller, of course. He didn't exonerate, but that's not the role of a special prosecutor to exonerate. He's just looking for evidence, and if he can't find any evidence, well, he can't say that there was collusion, and he can't really say in any certain way that there was obstruction. So that, people will, get mad at me and say, well, you're just a Russian bot. Oh, you're from a Russian troll farm. Moscow, Kremlin, Russia, Putin. Kremlin, Putin, Russia. Russia, Putin. Kremlin, Moscow, Mitch. And I go, well, look, this proves it, that reality is subjective, because you looked at the Mueller report and there's two dissenting viewpoints that are generated from the same report. People on the left even, they go ahead and they look at it, like Michael Tracy, or Aaron Maté or any of these folks, they'll look at this report and say, I don't see any collusion or obstruction. Like, what? I don't like Trump. They'll say, I don't like Trump, but this is not the way to get him. And of course, others will point at you and go, well, you're just a bot. You're just a troll. You're disingenuous. You're a fraud. You're a grifter. And I'll say, no, I'm just a person that has a different opinion than you do. I'm not any more enlightened, any less enlightened, any more ignorant, any less ignorant. I just have a different opinion. I've looked at what evidence that I was able to see through the internet, through the media, through other people. And I came to a conclusion. I mean, and that's the best that I can do. I'm not going to appeal to too many authorities. Like, I have to turn to people that have the evidence, that have the actual sources of information where we're coming to this conclusion, whether Donald Trump colluded with the Russians, if the U.S. government, if President Obama knew about it, which essentially he did. He knew about the FISA application. He knew about all this stuff. So it's not like I'm alone in this. It's not a right-wing position. It's not a left-wing position. It's not partisan. There just needs to be evidence before guilt. Innocent until proven guilty. And that's all that we care about here when it comes to this case. So I say there is value in delayed gratification. There is value in critical thinking. Providing the easy route and attempting to proselytize, to bring people in, is not a path to higher awareness. In the freedom of information and the sharing of all viewpoints, we can find immense strength. So I do promote a pro-information mindset. I like to read WikiLeaks. I like to read Project Veritas. I like to read anything, disobedient media, any source, Zero Hedge, anything that provides me more information about what's going on. Like, it doesn't matter if I feel like I'm more of a left libertarian, which I am on the political compass, or if I feel like I'm a bit of a Trump supporter, which puts me on the right side of things. Not the right side of history, per se. There is no right side of history. It's how it's written. They'll say, oh, you're on the wrong side of history, you're on the right side. I'm like, we're creating history as we speak. We are doing our best to generate the past for the future generations here in the present. So the value in delayed gratification is that, you can't just look at the front page, the cover of a book. You can't look at a label. You can't look at a symbol and extrapolate a whole bunch of information from there. You actually have to question everything, seek subject matter experts, and just really get deeper and deeper into that subject. You can't just make an ad hominem attack. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket and not listen to other information. You can't let people tell you who to listen to. Oh, she is a sexist. He's a racist. Well, he's a misogynist. Well, she is not for animals. She eats red meat, or whatever it might be. Whatever reason they're calling somebody immoral, they're casting guilt by association, as my friend Tyler says, guilt by conversation. If you talk to that person, you're cast out. So they just keep on knocking down all the sources, all the sides to the discussion that get in the way of their sophistry, that get in the way of their argument, that get in the way of you listening to that other side. They don't want you to listen to something that challenges your viewpoint because they want to keep on reinforcing it. Oh, the modern religion of global warming will take us all, and we won't be able to do anything. We won't be able to live even by the year 2100 if we don't do something in 12 years, if we don't do something in 20 years or 30 years. They'll say, all these things to try to get you in a specific little corridor, a little line. And of course, that is an echo chamber. That is a small Overton window of acceptable dialogue. And anybody outside those walls is extreme. So you don't want to be an extremist, right? You want to stay inside the box. Stay inside the box. But you have to look deeper. We have to look deeper. We can't just see something for its face value, judge somebody for something they said before, or the associations they have. Look at what they're actually saying, in that moment. Don't go looking for somebody else's tweets from the deep past and say, well, you said this here, but this is a different topic. How does this apply here? Like, I see that a lot. I see that people often seem to conflate or make analogies so often. They conflate two different things and compare things to things, and it turns out that it's like, well, you really have more nuance there than just being able to take something from 2 years ago that I said about a different topic and then extrapolate whatever meaning you like, and then say, well, you said that about this, and what do you think about this? If it's the same topic, it's one thing, but I've seen people just really push the limit of just sort of like, well, this is who you are. This is always who you are. You seem to be in bad faith. You seem to be a troll. And I say, no, I just have a different opinion. And you know what? It's hard. It's hard to be in the same discussion area, the same public square sometimes, as people that vehemently disagree with you. Like, I think my opinions are fairly down the middle, depending on who you talk to. But, some people just don't want to hear that at all. They want to separate you from their life. They might look at you and say, oh, you're a Trump supporter, or you're a Bernie supporter, or you're a Kamala Harris supporter, and I see you posting about this, and I can't take it, so I'm going to mute you. Which is cool. Muting is cool because you can still maintain a friendship, you can talk about the things that matter, but seeing their sort of controversial or dissenting political opinions all the time can be troubling for your mental health. So it's good we can mute people. And of course on Twitter, if you mute them, they don't know they're muted. So it's actually, if you're looking to, to teach somebody a lesson, to take them out of the game, so to speak, and to make sure they understand that you don't appreciate their, they're saying the first thing they say is fuck you, or they say something that's off topic, they make an ad hominem, they do an ethos-based attack versus something logical. Instead of blocking them, saying, I block all Nazis, goodbye, which you could do perhaps if somebody made a personal attack as the first thing they ever said. It would be up to your discretion, but some people would just block. And I say it's better to mute. That way they don't even know whether or not you saw their message or not. So, and I actually have started to mute people that are, very violent or very, I don't want to use the word ignorant. I don't think it's ignorance, but if all they have to offer is negativity, I may go ahead and mute them right off the bat. If it's really just harsh negativity with almost no substance, it's like there's so many people's viewpoints I want to see. If all you got is trying to rile people up, I love it, brother. I love it, sister. Trolling is fun. Trolling is cool. Shitposting is fun. Grab an avatar, LARP a little bit, and have a good time. Enjoy Clown World while it lasts. Before the accelerationism crosses the threshold, let's enjoy ourselves, right, guys? But I don't have to get that in my mentions. I just don't. I don't have to see your things in my mentions if I find it to be inappropriate. To my happiness, to my time. Time is the currency. So there is value in delayed gratification. There's value in researching something, finding more information, looking deeper, asking a lot of questions, and really getting to the root of it. Not just saying, oh, this person supports Trump, so they're a white supremacist, a racist, a sexist, whatever the media and the Democrat Party want you to think. If you, of course, if you have Trump derangement syndrome, orange man bad, orange man Hitler, you might think, of course, if you are in that mindset, you may think that it's obvious to you. But the thing is, everybody looks at the world differently. There's at least two perspectives for every situation. So, I had to look deeper to appreciate President Trump, of course. I didn't initially appreciate what he was doing, but once I accepted, it's like the stages of grieving. Once I accepted that he was president, and I did it pretty quickly, I was able to move on. I voted for Jill Stein, of course. I'm a left libertarian. I accepted it, and once I realized that we can work together, both sides can work together, we can achieve almost anything. So when you have critical thinking, when you don't provide an easy route and try to just proselytize and join a team, win people over to your class, to your side, that's not higher awareness. Like, groupthink isn't higher awareness. Okay, like everybody agreeing with each other, consensus, they call it scientific consensus, or settled science. There are some places in science that are pretty settled, but when you're dealing with a social situation and really nobody around is actually like a science expert, they're going on what certain experts say. And of course, Richard Feynman says science is the belief in the ignorance of the experts. And I call institutions of modern religion, of course, your academia, media, and state. People just put too much faith in authority figures sometimes. They appeal to authority too easily. And that's the easy route. That's the non-intellectual route, the non-thinking route. You may have good reasoning, and hey, the opinion of a scientists can be tribal too, but the opinion of a scientist on a certain subject is probably more valuable than just a layman, of course. But at the same time, they are not perfect, so we have to be very careful. So in the freedom of information and the sharing of all viewpoints, we find immense strength. So we need to keep the conversation going. We need to keep the dialogue going. And remember that other people may seem stupid, or they may seem ignorant, they may not seem like they know what they're talking about. But at the same time, if you're working with a 250 character tweet and it's about the context, there's a public context, a private context, there's the context of social media, there's the context of writing a blog post or an article, or doing a video, as I often do. There's all these different ways that we can communicate. So assuming that somebody is they're just a troll, like you can usually tell. But assuming somebody's just a troll or in bad faith, when they just disagree with you, they're not a violent person, they're not vehemently disagreeing, they just disagree with you. But we're getting into this world where, political factions are casting the other side in a particular light for political gain. They're saying that, and of course there's an air of hypocrisy as well. There's this air of, of course, if you point to somebody and say you've done the wrong thing, President Trump, you've done the wrong thing. Well, somebody that's a Trump supporter will come out of the woodwork and be like, well, you never said that about Obama. Well, I maybe didn't know it about Obama. That's the great thing about the freedom of information. People share over time things that were not obvious, 5 or 10 years ago, are much more obvious now. The information's spread out. There's so many platforms. There's so much reconfirmation of sources, veracity, re-verification that has happened over the years. And of course, we have things like WikiLeaks that can be counted on for that. And they take time. It's not just the first blush. It's not just, Russia, Roger Stone and all these different people. Like, it's not just about that. It's not just about the political theatrics of it. It's not just about who gets pardoned, who gets indicted. Like, there's actually content to look at here. So that's why we need to free Julian Assange and make sure that whistleblowers have as much leeway as possible to inform the public, of course, without endangering any military operations or otherwise. But we need to share our viewpoint. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to share your viewpoint, to tell it like it is. You might be wrong, you might be right. People may disagree, people may pig pile on you, or they may give you 1,000 likes, 1,000 retweets, whatever you're looking for your dopamine and serotonin hit. But sharing information, freedom of information, that does allow the good ideas to eventually bubble to the top. The verified truth bubbles to the top. Okay, there are some very strong persuasive lies, persuasive propaganda, and of course persuasive things like your actual conspiracy theories that don't have much in the way of real evidence to back them up. And then there's others they call conspiracy theories that you just give a little time, give a little bit of information. Time heals all wounds, and more information is better. You do actually find out eventually that some of these These conspiracy theories are conspiracy fact. We just didn't have enough information to start. So of the few adages that I think go well with this thread, nothing good in life comes easy. Okay, nothing good in life comes easy. We have a meritocracy that can get corrupted. Just like democracy, meritocracy can be corrupted by human nature. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if I say, like, let freedom reign, well, you're letting freedom reign and putting absolute authority in liberty, as contradictory as this sounds. If you put absolute authority in liberty, you get chaos. Libertarianism, they say, oh, you're a libertarian. What do you mean you're a libertarian? Do you like having borders? Do you like having the stock market? Do you like having all this stuff that's part of our sort of, corporatistic, capitalistic system? Do you like having a nation state? Blah, blah, blah. And I say, I'm generally a liberty-minded individual that also has pragmatic views and doesn't want to destroy things in the process of achieving my ideals. I have some libertarian ideals, but nothing... It doesn't help anybody when you think in absolutes. It just doesn't. It's not a productive way to think. It's better to look at situations, take a piece here and there about, what you prefer. Which dials need to go up, which needs to go down, which sliders go back and forth to give you the result you want. It's not about just going all the way this way or all the way that way. That's partisanship. That's closed-mindedness to one side. And if you're in an echo chamber with a lot of people that agree with you, it becomes easier. So I say, let the farts out of your echo chamber door. Don't asphyxiate yourself, and get more information. Work together to make sure that people don't get censored for having, truthful but controversial opinions. Make sure that articles and information that adults should be able to read, like it's not illegal to listen to information, you make sure that they have access to that. And that way our civilization will be in better shape. Nothing good in life comes easy. And I say, ask questions. So, of course, question everything. Look for solutions to every problem. Listen to both sides, all the sides of every scientific discussion, because you'll have one scientist here and one scientist here, and the two of them are talking. And whatever comes in the middle, whatever solution you get to from these two opinions is a new direction. It's like the truth lies between the two. You get to that truth, and then you have a new platform. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. You have a new platform for you to continue your intellectual exercise, to continue the scientific method, and it can be rather virtuous outing for you. So always ask questions, and always try to know what you don't know. So saying you're wrong, you're right, you're wrong, I'm right, I'm wrong, just all this stuff, it's really more about mapping what you don't know, because no one person knows everything, no one person can know everything. We have these massive, massive systems. We have world trade, we have all these huge things that, despite how predictable, how many markers we have for determining what's going to happen next, how many past scenarios we have. The past does not dictate the future, but we do have a lot of history. We didn't forget the past. We didn't delete the past. We have much to find out, but really it's always about knowing what you don't know. Learn what you don't know and try to work from there. Try to fill in those gaps. Just assuming that, I know this, I know that, you're wrong. Just trying to win people over through, reaching out and saying, you're wrong, it doesn't really bring people in. It doesn't give them a reason. Either you agree or disagree. If you disagree, you might just have to say, we agree to disagree. It's as simple as that. Sometimes that's the easiest way forward. And just to walk away. But, of course, if you're both in an intellectual pursuit, then, of course, you want to ask questions and try to know what you don't know. Now, I say here reality is subjective, and what I mean by that is human reality, human perception comes from a subjective place. I'm not saying that there's no observable, concrete reality, no objective truth, no ground for us to walk on, no Big Bang, and all these different things. Like, it could be, hypothetically, a simulation or another axiomatic outcome or system to our research on this. Once we've discovered what the truth fully is, it could be a simulation, it could be God, it could be Allah, it could be Buddha, or any of these gods that did it. It could be a sun god, it could be a moon god, it could be all these. If you believe in religion, it could be one of those. Or it could be something completely non-secular. I'm sorry, secular. That would be non-secular back in the traditional religion. But now we're talking about modern religion, we're talking about the secular. Okay, so reality being subjective, of course, that means that two people are looking at a situation in two different ways. What the values are may change, the moral values, all these different factors that make it either a good situation or a bad situation change depending on the observer. I don't want to go in this direction because it's a little bit too spacey, a little bit too metaphysical, but it talks about, it's in the world of physics as well. You have your quantum physics, and of course, sometimes something seems to change. One reality collapses when you observe something, the other possible realities collapse. But reality is subjective in the way that we all look at it differently. We all have every one of our 7 billion plus perspectives, and how we view the world, how we view what people said, how they said it. If we look at somebody's face and we get certain patterns, we recognize certain patterns that make us go, well, wait, this person is good, this person is bad. Oh, they're very bad, they're bigoted. That's us recognizing patterns that have been confirmed again and again through information being passed through our brain, through our brain pathways, and our confirmation bias, or confirmation bias getting more and more fortified over time. So it's important to remember that there is no one objective reality for every person. We have our inner reality, which is our consciousness, and we have outer reality, which is the world that we observe. So I like to say that human beings have agency and intelligence of their own. This is another thing where, we all know this. We all know that human beings have agency. We have our irrational free will. We make decisions, we look at situations, and we decide the best way forward. Of course, but I feel like in this world where we have the modern religion of social justice and all these different mechanisms for real-world moralism and for just all these forms of social engineering and conditioning. Google is part of that with their search algorithm manipulation. I like to say that, yeah, it's possible that 15 million votes could be flipped by Google in 2020, but human beings have agency and they have intelligence of their own. I have more faith in humankind than to think that, that a couple of nerds in a room can press a few buttons and all of a sudden, it's probably true, that they can change the outcome of an election based on the information that they present to you. If they present certain information and don't present other information that might hurt that candidate that they want you to go towards, if they don't want to present any dissenting information there, it does create an overly exaggerated, positive or negative, depending on their goal, view of reality in regards to if it's a political candidate, if it's a political cause, if it's non-political, whatever it might be. We can be easily manipulated. Our choices, our free will could be easily narrowed down to that small Overton window of acceptability. You have to be aware of that. But we also have to understand that we can buck the system. We can go against the trends. We can follow our instincts. We can do whatever we want to do. We can listen, and come to our own conclusions or come to the closest thing. Now, some might say, well, there's rational free will. You don't really make your own decisions. Your brain makes them for you, and then you rationalize them later, and that may be true. That may be true. That's rational free will. It's a rational way of thinking that, every decision made, every particle collision, every movement since the Big Bang has been in some way predetermined. I don't like to think that way. I prefer irrational free will, that we can change the world and make it as we see fit. We can think it, we can do it, we can think positive and bring positive things, positivity into the world. Through our agency, through our intelligence, through our know-how, through our wisdom. And of course, the classic, mind reading is impossible. Mind reading is impossible. So, of course, we all know it is. You can't read minds. There's such things as cold reads. There's all kinds of ways that people, like hypnotists, know you can, persuade somebody, persuasion. There's all these different ways that can manipulate the human psyche, the human psychology, to move it around where you want it to be, put attention where you'd like it to be. Some call this 3D or 4D chess, but there's different ways that people can be manipulated quite easily using linguistics, using symbols, using imagery, conditioning them to only want certain things and have a negative association with others. This is how sophistry works. This is how people are essentially brainwashed. I don't like that term. I've said that a lot today. There's a lot of words I just don't like to hear because they have a negative connotation or they have specific sort of frame on them through popular culture. But they get brainwashed. I'm brainwashed every minute of every day. You're brainwashed. We're talking to ourselves. The words coming out of my mouth that are going into my ears, running through my brain, are brainwashing me, and the same goes for you, and the same goes for all your friends and your family. All the messages we take in really do impact our psyche, even if it's conscious or subconscious, whatever it might be. Unconsciously, that information gets in, and it's important to our ongoing thought process. It really is. So it's important to know that. But mind reading is impossible because, of course, you can't guess somebody's intentions. You can say that somebody said something that's offensive to you or inappropriate. It's not your right not to be offended, but hey, you could say this is offensive to me, and it might be. But if you ask the person their intention, and it turns out that their intention was different than you imagined it, that proves it right there, that you're mind reading whatever sort of projection you were doing. We all project. We all do a little bit of, mind reading, it seems like. And of course, I say that, you can also just do a flat, hot take observation of what you imagine. If you compare and contrast it to your situation, you can certainly, you don't have to be mind reading or projecting to make a comment about something. Like the way this looks, you could say. The way this looks, my friend, well, X. I think X of it. Am I mind reading? Am I projecting? I mean, I am kind of projecting, sort of, right? I'm taking what is in my head and going, well, this is how things play out in my world. Then I look at the outer world and I comment on it based on my preconception of reality. So there is a bit of projection there. But mind reading must be said. It is impossible. It is impossible. So next tweet for you here. Continuing down the line towards the perfect contradiction.